I really don't want to get into the depths and the detail, but I would say he was dealing with more than maybe people realize.
From the moment Dameon Pierce was drafted by the Texans in 2022, we knew we had a special kind of personality on this team. Do you remember draft night?
Yeah, right now you're not wearing a shirt. You do seem super energetic.
Whoa, man, I bring energy, first off.
Can you put in words how happy you are? Because it's coming across the screen like you're just elated.
Hey, I can't put in the words. All you got to do is look at this smile, dude. I give y'all 32. Hey, that's all I can say right now.
What did you think about being in Houston specifically? What do you know about Texas? Have you spent any time here?
Well, I know Texas got pretty houses and pretty girls, so that's good for me.
And then in what was otherwise a festering cold sore of a season, Dameon Pierce was one of the bright spots. He won angriest run of the year. He looked like something that if they ever got their act together, the Texans could rely upon to be a force for years to come. But then in 2023, a season in which so many things improved so drastically, Dameon Pierce was the outlying conundrum that we just couldn't figure out. And it seemed like he was just having a really hard time adjusting to this zone blocking system. In an interview with Sean Pendergast and Clint Sterner last year, after a game in which he had a kickoff return for a touchdown, he really opened up about how difficult this had been for him last year in 2023. I've overlaid some highlights from 2022 just so you can see the juxtaposition of what he was feeling and what he was dealing with in that 2023 season.
This offense is requiring a version of me that I haven't attained yet. And I hate to say it, I hate to sound this way, but that's nothing I can fix during the season. So I'm kind of in a limbo to where, okay, I can't fix it during the season, but that don't mean I can't still try to work at it.
Sure,
That's kind of an off-season thing, okay, let me get my playbook, let me get my body back right. Let me, prepare physically for this, because it's a bigger load. It's a way bigger load than last year. And it was kind of a shock to me, mentally and physically. And that kind of, made me stagnant. And then, like I said, I had got an injury, there was a lot of compounded things. But like you said, bro, it is really not the adversity, is how you respond to it. And I'm just trying to make sure I respond to it the best as I can and just grow from this. So next year, when I am where I want to be mentally and physically, my year can be that much more better. Our year can be that much more better. And we can go out and be lights out with CJ, man.
So you can see, he's just that same great kid with that same energy and that same caring and commitment. But there was just something off, and we'll get to that. It turns out there was more than just scheme, and we'll hear from Nick Caserio in a moment. But if you wonder, okay, what could be so hard about one system versus another? You're just running with the football, right? In traditional blocking, a running back knows where the hole's going to be or where it should be. He can point himself towards that hole and he can hit it and he can go on to break 1, 2, 3, or 7 tackles the way Dameon Pierce did a couple of years ago. In a zone blocking system, there's a lot more timing, rhythm, and decision-making involved. And instead of being able to just point himself towards a hole, a running back has to take into account how is the defensive tackle or the defensive end playing their blocks? What was the alignment of the defense at the beginning of the play? Where's the safety? And there are just a whole lot more variables going on. And it's difficult for some backs. Some backs just don't adjust to it well. But Sean Pendergast and I had Nick Caserio on Payne and Pendergast a couple days ago. And Nick shed some light on how it may have been more than just adapting to a new scheme.
I really don't want to get into the depths and the detail, but I would say he was dealing with more than maybe people realize. And sometimes that affects maybe how you perform and play because you have a lot of things going on. And there were times where he probably pressed and he put maybe some undue pressure on himself. So when you take it holistically, everything into consideration, there were some ups and downs. And the way he handled it, honestly, was very mature. So he's in a lot better space. He's had a really good spring. He's popped some runs here in practice, and you're starting to see some of the things that you saw, that we saw at Florida, that you saw as a rookie. And he had some good plays last year. I think the good plays sometimes get drowned out by some of the negative plays, and then everybody those get sort of accentuated a little bit more than they should. So, again, great kid, great attitude. He's going to help our football team, and we're glad he's here.
I have zero clue about what exactly might have been going on, but knowing Dameon Pierce and knowing how much he cares about people, about his teammates, his energy in general, I know it was nothing trivial. So without knowing any of the particulars, I got to hope that that same guy with 1 year experience in this scheme and having devoted himself to it in the offseason might come back much, much different. And he's looked really good in camp. He's looked way more decisive. Being decisive is big because remember, one cut and go. That's what they say in zone blocking schemes all the time. You got to make your decision, you got to take that cut, and you got to get vertical. We've seen that a lot, and you might think, okay, yeah, but there's no tackling, so how much can you really tell? Compared to last year, I think you can tell the difference. Compared to last year this time, and whether you're getting tackled or not, the decision making is the same. You still have to transfer it over into the preseason games and on into the regular season, but he's shown evidence that there's improvement there. Titus Howard spoke about how Damion's looked the other day as well.
DP is DPing. You know, DP is one of the most talented running backs I play with. And I think this year is like probably one of the most explosive I've seen him, even more than his rookie year. He looks faster. He's leaner. He still, you know, can run the ball really hard, but I think he's in a great spot too. With him and Joe Mixon back there, man, we got to do up front. Them boys going to run the rock for sure.
He's DPing, not in an OnlyFans type of way, but a Dameon Pierce type of way. He's DPing, which we all know means running like you're on the Jerry Springer show, confronting the bullies who bullied you before you bulked up. And that is a very, very good thing. The big question is, okay, if there's an improvement, how big of an improvement can it be? What's it look like on paper? Joe Mixon's going to be the bell cow, but he's 28 years old, and I don't think the Texans want Joe Mixon getting 25 carries per game. They're going to want to use Dameon Pierce, perhaps Jawar Jordan, who will be likely the subject of another video coming up because I'm very intrigued by Jawar Jordan. I do think that if this offense can get the run game going, and remember, they struggled last year. They looked a lot better after Devin Singletary took over in the second half of the season, but they still weren't necessarily a team that could run it when they needed to run the ball. But if we look at other Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay style offenses, when it's hitting, it hits magnificently. We should anticipate a whole lot of 7-man boxes when you've got 3 stud wide receivers on the field. I think there's a very good chance that Dameon Pierce surpasses his performance as a rookie, even working as the backup in terms of yards per carry, broken tackles, touchdowns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I love this kid. I think he's everything that's good about football. He's exactly that's the type of way I would want my own son to play football. It's somebody you can be proud of, and I'm hoping for the best for him, and I can't wait to watch him play in these preseason games and hopefully on into the regular season.
You just announced yourself and you put out 21 reps just like that. So
it could have been 24 if I had tennis shoes on, 'cause I ain't had no grip. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, if I wasn't getting a lot of carries, but I was productive in college, you know, let's do the same thing in NFL, you know, because, you know, nowadays it's running back by committee. You know, I'm just ready to play ball with some great guys, man, you know, especially in the running back room. Running backs, we got to stick together, man. You know, I'm just ready to get there. You know, I'm ready to see what the future holds, man. Yeah, man, thank you. I can't wait to get there.